Welcome to the first episode of our 5-week series, where we'll actually look at the science behind meditation, about what happens first in our physical body, in the matter, so that we can then move on to the energetic part and have everything explained, or at least the most essential part, so we can see what chemical processes are happening in our body, what actually changes, and how far science has come with the question of meditation. Neurology supports all of this. Dr. Joe Dispenza, for example, shares how our brain is naturally designed to be active all the time. The goal of meditation is to train your attention, he says, to gently bring your focus back to the present when your mind wanders. So, if you've ever thought, I can't meditate because I can't stop thinking, congratulations. You are completely normal and everything is fine with you. And yes, I can say for sure, you can meditate. The first episode starts with myths, mysticism, and truth. That's what we've called it for meditation, although we're fully aware that every truth is a half-truth. The idea is to look at the most important things that happen in the physical body, the chemical processes, and inside the brain. When we are awake, when we sleep, alpha, beta, theta states, what they are and what science has discovered about them so far. What don't we know? What do we know? What do we think we know? And actually, let's start from the idea that as above, so below, to know and to see what is inside us, as much as possible, in simple language, in understandable language, and then in the next episode we'll move on to the pineal gland, the third eye. What happens with all this energy that passes through us? How can we use it during meditation? How do we generally use it? And why do I need all of this? Meditation is religious. It's true that meditation has deep roots in spiritual traditions like Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism, but today meditation is used by scientists, psychologists, athletes, and even the military. Many Fortune 500 CEOs use meditation to stay focused. Elite athletes like NBA players and Olympic competitors. Novak Djokovic meditates to train his mind under pressure. Soldiers use it to improve their mental resilience and manage stress during missions. At first, you may feel more restless, even overwhelmed. Some people experience emotional release, cry, feel disappointed, or even get angry. This is absolutely normal. This happens because meditation brings suppressed emotions to the surface, those things we haven't been honest about until now and haven't wanted to say. We've kept them, stored them in some kind of virtual fridge of ours. It brings them out so we can recognize them, or more precisely, admit them to ourselves and then decide how we want to transform them. Elizabeth Gilbert in Eat, Pray, Love describes how she started to cry uncontrollably during meditation in an ashram. Many people go through this phase, but it's actually a sign that meditation is working. So, if you ever feel uncomfortable during meditation, don't give up, don't get startled, don't panic. This discomfort is part of the process. Your mind and body are letting go of old patterns, and it's normal, especially the first few times. Another misunderstood idea is that you need a lot of time for meditation, that you have to practice for many hours a day to have a real effect. And while there is undoubtedly a great effect when we practice for several hours a day, with the same strength, just 5 minutes a day can rewire your brain, and it's better to do 5 minutes a day than 0 minutes every day. Of course, everyone has different belief systems, different needs, and the advice is to start listening to yourself. What do we need, when, and how much? As for the specific measures and numbers, it's best for everyone to take out their own notebook and figure them out. It's like someone telling you how many times you should breathe in a minute. Your body and mind know best. Of course, things can be improved or changed, but you know best. You can meditate anytime and anywhere, while traveling, walking, or even while washing the dishes. Meditation shouldn't be something separate from our lives. The word itself, as we mentioned in the first part, has deep roots in Latin. Sometimes you'll find it as meditatio, elsewhere as meditatum, which generally means to contemplate or to reflect, which means that meditation is about turning inward and gaining insight, knowledge, and receiving information. In Tibetan, meditation is literally translated as knowledge, which actually reveals what it means to become aware of ourselves, our thoughts, and the present moment. The Hindu Upanishads describe meditation as the dhyana practice of focused concentration, which leads to self-realization. In Buddhism, this is a path to enlightenment, cultivating attention and inner silence. It's always the same situation. When we talk about meditation, it's important to understand that it has both physical and energetic or spiritual aspects. The physical part is related to the body, biochemistry, the nervous system, and the way meditation affects brain activity. For example, during meditation, breathing slows down, heart rate is regulated, and brain waves shift into deeper and more relaxing states. The energetic part affects perception, consciousness, and awareness, which unfold beyond physical sensations. Here, the pineal gland, also known as the third eye, plays an important role. Although it is a physical organ, its role goes beyond its biological functions. It acts as a bridge between physical and non-physical perception, providing access to information from the source or potential, seeing forward and backward, and expanded states of consciousness. People often give up on meditation because they think they must necessarily reach some specific state. For example, complete silence, out-of-body experiences, or entering theta or delta brainwaves. That's a complete myth. The truth is that every meditation is valuable and brings its own benefits. Some people experience strong energetic sensations right away, while for others the process is gradual, starting with a sense of calm and unfolding over time. The best approach is not to set any expectations, in general to have no goal. Yes, as paradoxical and strange as it may sound, meditation is not a goal you have to reach, but an awareness that it is a natural, though somewhat forgotten process. In the next episode, as I said, we will talk in more detail about the pineal gland and its profound function. For now, we will focus on the physical, or more precisely, the brain part. From a scientific point of view, psychologists Lausch and Shapiro define meditation as a family of self-regulation practices that focus on training attention and awareness in order to place mental processes under greater voluntary control. Neurologist Richard Davidson describes it as a method for shaping the brain's neuroplasticity, retraining emotional and cognitive pathways for better well-being. Wow, that's a long definition for being happy. Dr. Herbert Benson from Harvard coined the term relaxation response to describe how meditation counteracts stress on a physiological level, lowering heart rate and blood pressure. There are countless meditation techniques, each with its own approach, but they all generally fall into two categories. When we talk about the tip of the iceberg, focused attention meditation and open monitoring meditation, these are the traditionally known methods. Focused attention meditation is exactly what it sounds like. You choose a single point of focus and keep your attention there. This could be your breath, a mantra, a candle flame, or even a mental image. Every time your mind wanders, you gently bring it back to the point of focus. This process strengthens concentration, just like lifting weights strengthens muscles. The more you practice, the better you stay focused and present. Consequently, when you're not in a state of meditation, you also start to become more focused and present in the specific moment of the present. In other words, you start to see the invisible, in quotes, threads and connections that, if we're distracted as we usually are, we wouldn't even notice. From the perspective of the hologram body, By getting acquainted with meditation and practicing it, for example, every day for about a year, a person really gets the feeling of transformation, where they were, where they've reached. There's a sense of great expansion and opening. While doing our daily chores, we become much more sensitive. Well, we kind of become like Spider-Man. He has what's called a sixth sense, or spidey sense, which is a kind of warning, about 3 or 4 seconds before something happens, enough for Spider-Man to react properly. Well, the same thing happens when we are active in our meditation practice. We become like Spider-Man. We start, without wanting to roll our eyes more, to notice random remarks that people throw around us. While we're walking to the fruit and vegetable store, for example, we just become more observant, more sensitive. On the other hand, open observation meditation means allowing all thoughts, emotions, and sensations to arise without attaching to them. Instead of focusing on a single object, you become an observer, watching your thoughts come and go without judging them. That's what we did last week. This method helps us, of course, to learn not to judge and not to turn our activities into addictions, which in turn allows you to free yourself from habitual reactions and unconscious patterns. And what happens in the brain from a physical point of view? For thousands of years, meditation has been practiced as a tool for self-discovery and inner peace. But today, modern science confirms what ancient traditions have long understood, that meditation physically changes the brain. In fact, Dr. Joe Dispenza, a leading researcher in neuroplasticity and meditation, explains that when we meditate, we shift the activity of our brain waves from high-speed beta waves, which are associated with stress and overthinking, to slower, deeper states of awareness. But what does that actually mean? First, how does meditation affect the body? Quickly, so things don't get complicated. Breathing slows down, as we said, and becomes deeper, which signals the nervous system that we are safe. The heart rate regulates and blood pressure decreases. The muscles relax accordingly, and the tension in the body decreases. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline decrease, which leads to a feeling of calm. At the same time, the levels of serotonin and dopamine increase, which are associated with happiness and pleasure, respectively. What does the brain do? Well, the brain operates at different frequencies which determine our state of consciousness. They are measured by an electroencephalograph, and look like this. Beta waves, awake state, concentration, stress. This is the active mind when we work, do things, think logically, and solve problems. Alpha waves. This is the state of relaxation when we are calm but awake. This is like the intermediate bridge between the active consciousness and the deeper states. Theta waves, maybe you've heard of theta healing, deep relaxation, meditation, creativity. That's how they are traditionally depicted and defined. This is the frequency at which the subconscious, as scientists say, becomes more accessible, or information from the source. Delta waves, sleep and deep meditation. They are associated with processes of regeneration and healing. Gamma waves, this is already deep cognitive activity, intuition, and a state of expanded consciousness. So, without worrying, we'll go through them very simply. In our normal waking state, the brain operates in beta, constantly analyzing, solving problems, reacting to the world around us. What happened? I need to fix it, go there, do this, call this person. This is beta. It's useful for survival, but when we stay too long in a high beta state, we experience anxiety, fatigue, and stress. When we enter alpha, the mind begins to relax, and creativity, intuition, and clarity appear. Man, suddenly we start to feel what we need to do, and when we go back into beta, we actually do it. The constant mental chatter, however, slows down and we experience a sense of calm and openness. Going even deeper, theta waves lead us into a meditative state where the subconscious becomes more accessible. This is where deep healing, insight, and emotional processing happen. Children naturally spend more time in theta, which is why they learn so quickly and absorb information almost effortlessly. Through meditation, we can tap into that same state, making it possible to break old patterns and form new ones. Neuroniheta, hardened, solidified, to break them down so we can take what we need from there and transfer and transform them into new ones, which will become our established thoughts and, accordingly, our reality. We become what we believe in. Our thoughts create everything that happens around us. So it really is important to pay attention to what we are thinking. And one more thing, whether what we are thinking at this moment, when it passes through our mouth, is what we express or say at this moment. Very often there is a difference between thought and speech, and it's good to pay attention to that. Now, okay, but do you really need to know all of this to have a successful meditation and be really good at it? Do you need to listen to specific frequencies, music for example, to meditate properly? No. You are the source, I remind you. You are all the potential. It already exists within you. All of this is wonderful detail and wonderful information for us to add more frequencies to our own range for expansion. Even if you don't know about this, you can easily enter a deep meditation. I didn't know it when I started, I had no idea, and it still happened. So you can do it too. Music is again a matter of choice, but personally I prefer it, I use it, and I like it. But the changes don't stop there. Meditation also rewires the brain through neuroplasticity, which means the ability to create new connections and to transform the brain's capacity to form new connections. According to Hebb's law, neurons that fire together wire together. This means that every time we react to stress in a certain way, we reinforce that neural pathway. Over time, these patterns become automatic. Then we wonder why we yell at little kids or at those who honk at us to drive a little faster on the road. The good news? Meditation helps break these old patterns by creating new ones. Studies show that with more meditation practice, the density of gray matter increases in areas related to self-awareness, emotional regulation, and focus. Simply put, meditation trains the brain to be calmer, more resilient, and less reactive in an aggressive way. As you can see, science is doing its job, and yet, to complete the picture, Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza have studied how stress and negative emotions activate genes related to disease, while states of relaxation, joy, and gratitude activate genes associated with healing and longevity. In other words, meditation is not just a tool for mental clarity, it literally transforms the body at a cellular level. And what was the principle? As above, so below, as in the cells. And what is in the cells? Molecules, atoms, protons and neutrons, information that is also energy. And what were we? Quantum physics presents us with a surprising but logical perspective. Reality is not fixed until it is observed. This phenomenon is well demonstrated by the double-slit experiment, which challenges classical understandings of the material world and directly coincides with information coming from channelings about what consciousness and existence are. In 1801, Thomas Young conducted the first double-slit experiment, demonstrating that light behaves like a wave. Later, in 1927, Clinton Davison and Lester Germer discovered that even electrons, which are generally considered to be particles, also exhibit wave-like behavior. This fundamentally changes our understanding of matter. But the real paradox is revealed in modern versions of this experiment, where scientists use detectors to track which of the two slits the electron passes through. The moment the electrons are observed, they stop behaving like a wave and start behaving like particles. That is, They observe it and it's solid, a matter particle. I look away from it and it's energy again. So the very act of observation or the choice of focus changes their nature. This experiment clearly shows that the very act of observation, the act of conscious choice, changes the behavior of quantum particles and accordingly our entire reality. The function of particles to behave like waves seems to only appear to collapse or solidify into a specific form at the moment of observation. In the same way, our own reality solidifies according to the attention we give it. This explains why focus, emotions, and inner beliefs literally shape the world around us. Once we know that the observer changes reality, the key question is how we use this knowledge consciously. Well, the first step is to enter the state of the pure observer, where we stop fully identifying with the events around us. You stop defining yourself as yourself. You stop being you. This can be done with various techniques, meditation, regression, lucid dreaming, but my idea is for you to think about what's happening, to understand the principle. From there on, do whatever you want. This perspective of entering a state of being an observer, in other words, right now as I'm speaking to the camera, to step outside of myself and watch myself from the side without feeling any attachment from the perspective of the ego or the physical mind. Man, this looks insanely scary, absurd, stupid, meaningless, and even deadly, because the physical mind, even though it's limited, is quite a powerful tool, and it has the capacity to make us think that if we even try something like this, we'll just drop dead. The interesting moment is when you lie down, close your eyes, leave your body and observe yourself, right? Your body. Then a very specific sensation arises. You are still you, but you don't feel the weight of this particular self or this particular body. Then the natural question comes up. If you continue to be conscious, then who are you? This is one of the first steps toward a multidimensional way of thinking and being. The short answer: you are everyone and everything, but your current choice is to be Stoyan, or maybe Milen, or maybe Krasi. In the double-slit experiment, we see that a particle can exist in multiple probabilities, that is, in a wave state, simultaneously. At the moment it is observed, it chooses one specific form. This is direct evidence that the observer seems to gather or collapse the illusory, though real reality in the specific experience. So for him, for the observer, for the specific observer, as long as he has a focused attention on this, this will be his only reality. From an energetic quantum point of view, this means that every reality exists as a potential possibility until we give it focus through our consciousness. This leads to several key conclusions. If you believe that your life is limited, then it will certainly be so. If you believe that you can change, the universe will rearrange itself according to that focus. Everything is possible. The question is where you direct your attention. Meditation is not something you have to learn. It is a natural state of consciousness. Everything is one and the one is everything. And if you can look beyond the tip of the iceberg, you'll see that all the knowledge, all the understanding, and the answer you've been searching for all along has been within you. Let's imagine the following situation. You meet someone who claims to be sick with something and believes that there are some entities that have possessed him. He needs to be healed, you understand? He has chosen to do this through meditation. He has already taken the steps. This person is looking for someone specific to work directly with him, to heal him, to help him, to cleanse him, and so on. He is setting a condition in advance for what he wants to happen to him. Imagine this. He comes to you and asks if you know such a person, and you tell him, "No, I don't know exactly such a person. But I can give you the principles I have reached about the universe and energy, and through them you can seek the answers yourself in meditation." And the unexpected answer is, but I've been meditating for 5 years. Obviously it's not working. Don't try to explain it to me. Right, don't explain it to me. Every time I've tried, it just doesn't work that way. Well, okay then. How is it possible that you don't know the reason and can't deal with it? Yeah, here we fall into yet another paradox, the illusion that you're meditating. There's a difference between thinking you're meditating and actually meditating, because thinking you're doing something is like me explaining to you that I'm going to get rich without actually taking any real action. If I actually take action, you'll just see it in me. In this sense, the true master, even if we take a craftsman as an example, is the one who carves the stones, who builds the foundations, who has apprentices and teaches them. But all the time he is doing, acting, creating, knock, knock, knock. He does, he works. And this is the moment. We people are very good at convincing others that we're doing something. So, someone can explain to you how they've been doing something for years and say, yes, but it doesn't work for me. We are masters at pointing fingers and saying, this doesn't work. That person can do it, but I can't. But we don't realize it. We don't seem to think that with the same intensity we point out mistakes and flaws in others, we can point them out in ourselves as well. With the same intensity we can change them. If we've spent so much time on something and it hasn't worked, why not apply the same willpower and patience to something that actually works? But we're also stubborn, really stubborn, extremely stubborn. It was supposed to work, but we don't know why it's not happening. Or we often encounter, I've been meditating every day for a year, but I don't see anything, I don't feel anything, I don't hear anything, nothing has been told to me. What should I do? Clearly I'm not doing something right. Guys, it all comes down to your definition of meditation. How do you define it? What do you believe meditation is? What definition do you choose to put in your head for meditation? Why do you think you're meditating? Why do you want to be able to meditate? Not what your goal is, but what is your belief about what will happen afterward? Do you think your life will get better? If someone starts doing something just to make their life better, everything else will happen, but their life won't actually get better. If for you meditation is just sitting with your eyes closed, escaping from reality, then that's all meditation will give you. You understand? Meditation is like the universe in a small version. Whatever you wish for in it, that's what it will give you, and it knows how to give a lot. So how do we use this hidden power in meditation? The easiest way to start is by setting an intention, or before you meditate, you can ask yourself a question or focus on something you need answers for instead of trying to force an answer. Just let your mind calm down and let things happen on their own. Permission is needed, and the automatic process in which each one of us is involved suddenly, like a snap of the fingers, starts working without us even having to push the wheel. This is not magic. This is how the brain works when it's given space to process on a deeper level. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to trust and use this inner intelligence. If you've never meditated before, don't worry. You don't need hours of practice to experience these sensations. There's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to worry about. The first and most important part is really to accept and to think to yourself when you start to meditate. What do you believe will happen? What is your conviction? Come on, what are your expectations? Why are you starting to do it? What do you want to happen? If you clarify this, I'm not saying to chase it during meditation, but at least clarify where your root comes from. Your core belief, what is meditation? Does it only help with breathing? Does it only help the body? Does it only help with health? Does it help change your thoughts? Does it help change reality? Does it help you connect with other entities? Does it help you enter the source? Does it help you answer personal questions? Does it help you ask questions for others? All of this is possible, and that's why it's said that everything is equally possible at the same time, because truly everything is possible. And since there are no conditions set, it's like unconditional love. It has no conditions, meaning it contains absolutely everything. Well, it's the same way in meditation. In exactly the same way. And since this episode is dedicated to the body and the physical part, we can do a very simple exercise. If you wish, close your eyes. Relax. Breathe slowly with your belly. Inhale through your nose. Hold it. Hold it. Release. And again, breathe in slowly through your belly. Hold. Hold. Exhale. Once more. Slowly and calmly inhale through your nose. Hold it. Hold it. Exhale. Keep your eyes closed. What do you feel? Imagine in front of you a glowing sphere, a ball, a sun, which you can hold it in your hands. That's how big it is, a little bigger than a tennis ball. See it in front of you. Set the intention for it to become a sensitive scanner that will support the recovery and healing of your physical body. It will fulfill it. This is your sphere. Now, together with her and with her permission, let's come down together from the head, through the neck, through the shoulders, the chest, the abdomen, the lower back, the thighs, the calves, the limbs. Let everyone hold their ball where they feel the greatest need in this area. Tell it. And it will go there, to the lower back, for example. Hold and wait. What do you feel? What do you see? How do you feel? What are you thinking? Lift this sphere above your head and form a huge sphere around you. At 360 degrees, one big globe, a large sphere completely around you, glowing, pulsating, vibrating, full of energy and potential. Wish upon this sphere, if possible, to strengthen now the processes of your body's recovery, to strengthen now brain activity, focus, attention, alertness, awareness. And creativity. Wish for it. Wish for inspiration. When you're ready, focus on one specific wish and one specific attention towards all your loved ones and acquaintances, towards the whole planet, towards everything that exists. Set this wish and intention of yours and send it out to everyone from your body, from your sphere, from your self-healing mechanism and organism outwards to everyone else. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. How is it? It's not something that's scary. It's normal for the body to feel a bit numb, for the brain to be a bit confused. Dizziness is normal, trembling, grinding, whatever someone feels, however the body is set up. That was a light demonstration related to the physical body, and in this way you can walk around with this sphere, which is your own personal one. Through every part of the body you can scan yourself, and accordingly others as well. This also happens with the work with proton fields, or the Chi energy in Chinese medicine, which passes through us anyway, and in this way many people heal and are healed. The idea here is for you to feel how much energy you have, really, how much energy you have. You have an incredible amount of energy. You have all the potential within yourself. The fact that we have beliefs that make us think otherwise is another topic. But actually, these are neurons that, with enough training, we can change. And when we say, I have all the potential, I contain all the energy, suddenly we start to feel more capable, better, happier, more able, stronger. The idea is in the training, and just like we did this exercise, you can scan, you can see your kidneys, you can get to the point where you see your cells, you can see what your brain looks like as an outside observer. For those of you who are interested in studying medicine, you can go in and see what the pineal gland looks like, what the cerebral cortex looks like, what the left and right hemispheres look like, what your heart looks like, your own, how it beats. You can take such walks all the time, absolutely freely, without the need for any extensions. Because permissions, forgive me, because you have already allowed it for yourself. After you manifest such information, after you live in such a reality with similar information, after you obviously can do it, feel it, experience it, and see it, it's a matter of practice, a matter of conviction, and a matter of belief. And there is one thing that one of our guests recently reminded us of, something that is stronger than belief. I know. About what we already know inside, about those we deeply are. This happens when we practice meditation more often. We start to go within ourselves more frequently. Until the next episode, when we will dive into the vast world of the pineal gland, explored in detail, and we will try to do something even more interesting.